Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? It is the Skype show. It's Skype Monday, one of my favourite shows of the week. So you can get Skyping in the next couple of minutes. I'm just going to go through some of the headlines. It is Jose Mourinho's biggest week. His biggest week in charge of Manchester United. 18 months in, he faces Sevilla on Wednesday night in the Champions League and then Chelsea on Sunday. If he comes out of both those results with good results, then I think the season and Mourinho's future look fantastic. If he doesn't get good results, I still think his future looks good. I don't think Mourinho's going anywhere, but obviously a couple of bad results in those games and it will heap that sort of pressure that's building up against him, especially if it's not played in the right way. Interesting on Sevilla, we've got the preview coming up for the Sevilla game live at 1 o'clock tomorrow UK time, lunchtime. And Sevilla, they were in Liverpool's Champions League group. I'd forgotten about that, mainly because I don't watch Liverpool, but I think they drew both games, so they're no slouches. They've won 2 Europa League Cups before us, so they'd won it twice in a row. So decent sides and massive test for Manchester United, and really looking forward to it. Some of the topics you might want to talk about tonight: Skype Goldbridge, all one word. You might want to talk about Mourinho, whether he's the right man, the football we're playing, the midfield. You might also want to talk about Tony Kroos is apparently Manchester United's #1 midfield target in the Independent. Miguel Delaney. He ain't too bad, so I'd love it. I'd love it to happen. There's going to be a lot of change at Real Madrid in the summer. Who else? Rojo to PSG. I don't want Rojo to go, but interestingly enough, Phil Jones, Fellaini, Rojo, Zlatan, all expected to be definitely out of the game on Wednesday night. Hopefully, Rashford, Herrera, and Pogbas will be back, but Phil Jones injured again. There's not a personal injury insurance company that would go near that guy, is there? How many times has he been injured this year and everyone's been saying, oh, at least he's not getting injured as much. He's always bloody injured. Rojo, that's unfortunate. I mean, the Rojo injury, what is it about United and centre-backs being injured? This has been going on for years now. We can never keep centre-backs fit. It is a bit of a joke, really. And I tell you what, I nearly had a heart attack this afternoon. It flashed up on my Twitter feed that Fellaini had agreed a 5-year contract at United, but then it had been misinterpreted that they think he's agreed a 5-year contract at Galatasaray or Besiktas in Turkey. I was like, oh my god. Not only has he signed a new contract, it's 5 years. He's already been here 5 years. But I don't think there's any way in a million years that Manchester United would give a 30-year-old who's going to be 31 this year a 5-year contract. So maybe that means he's off to Turkey, which if you didn't watch the video at lunchtime that I did about midfielders, that's really interesting as well. But I don't want to mess around, and this guy was first calling in, so let's see if we can get him on. Ollie, can you hear me?
Yeah, can do. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, pal. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about our formation that Jose may be trying to formulate and how that may affect our transfer targets in the summer.
Okay, yeah, I don't know whether you saw the video I did at lunchtime, but I did say 3 midfielders that United should sign. I said Milankovic, Savic, Fabinho and, well, Fosu Mensah. But what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I want to say that I believe 4-2-3 is the best choice. It allows a solid back four and De Gea, Shaw, Rojo, by Valencia. No problem. It's a midfield, however, I think it's going to be the hurdle for Mourinho. Like a lot of fans, even the United stand have said, they always talk about like a number 10, Dybala, Ozil, Griezmann. A 4-3-3 with 2 central progressive players and a DM may not comfort, for example, Dybala, where he's used to playing it either on the right wing or as number 10. Which may cause problems for Dybala if he's being pushed back a bit.
Yeah, I certainly don't know what you think, Ollie, but I think there's been enough hints from Mourinho over the last few weeks, and he repeated it again on Friday, that we keep getting linked to all these attackers, but if he didn't want to say anything about it, he wouldn't say anything. He's actually saying he's not after attackers, and as you just said there, I think some of us, maybe even me, I don't agree that we won't go for any attackers, but he keeps saying it, and actually, if you play a 4-3-3 and you make that midfield the 3 like you said there is no number 10, so you only need 1 striker and 2 wide men, which has got plenty of options there. I think the midfield 3 is where we'll see the work done in the summer.
Exactly, and the worry I think is we know the United board like to go for players who's going to generate a lot of money from shirt sales, and Dybala, Griezmann, they would generate a lot, so they may just go for them as a business decision, but they may not fit the 4-3-3 that Mourinho gels into United for the rest of the season. And there's either two ways Mourinho could deal with it. He could slot Dybala in as a centre mid to play along with Pogba, but because he likes playing up forward, that could affect Dybala. Or he switches to formation, and let's say 4-3-3 goes well for the rest of the season. That could disrupt a good rhythm we get towards the end of the season, going into the next season. That could cause trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I take it you saw the game at the weekend. I mean, just bringing it back to the remaining point of the season, because, you know, I think we all know where the improvement will be in the summer, and hopefully that will improve as next season. But for now, would you stick with the 4-3-3 considering the midfield options we've got, or would you still be looking at the 4-2-3-1? And if you went for the midfield three, how would you put it together based on the midfielders that we've got at the moment that many feel are not good enough?
Yeah, I think 4-3-3 is the best option for the rest of the season. I think, as much as 3-5-2 worked, I think it could cause a few problems. But I think 4-3-3, for the simple fact we don't have a number 10 until summer, because it's quite clear, and I'm pretty annoyed at this. Sanchez is out on the left, so we don't have a number 10, which we could have used Sanchez for. So I think 4-3-3. The problem I have is I don't trust Matic, but if I think the best midfield three at the minute would be Matic at the back, Pogba on the left, and Herrera out on the right. If he found form, he could be like a new signing for us, because he would massively improve us. You know, we saw last year that him and Pogba linked up brilliant together. So if he found some form, Matic plays a more simple role, because at the minute Matic worries me. And then Pogba in that midfield three would flourish. I think that's probably the best. But I think, as you said earlier on, Fabinho would be a brilliant signing, because I don't trust Matic. I think he's slow, keeps it simple, whereas and has poor movement, where I think Fabinho contrasts him a bit more.
Yeah, good point. Sorry, didn't know you finished there. Good points, Ollie. Really thanks. Really grateful to you calling in and opening up the show. And I think the midfield for many United fans is something at the moment that is a bit of a concern. So thanks for answering that in relation to the rest of the season.
Absolutely, no problem. Enjoyed it.
Cheers, pal. Please do call in again.
Thank you. Will do.
I just picking up on that. I mean, I'll probably ask a couple of the callers tonight. I mean, we talk about the midfield, and I did the video on it as well. But what about if what do we do for the rest of the season? I mean, I personally, in an ideal world, would like to see the 4-3-3 with Pogba to the left, Matic holding, and Herrera to the right. I think that could be really good. But I can't hide from the fact that Herrera's not been good this season. So why should he become good now? Surprise Mark stopped harping on it, but we need wide players who can cross the ball, says Mike Rollins. I've stopped hyping on about wide players who can cross the ball, Mike, because I'm resigned to the fact that we haven't actually got any, and I don't think we're going to sign any. As I said this morning, I think I wrote an article this morning for the website saying, you know, we've got 6'4" Smalling, 6'4" Matic, Fellaini. You've got McTominay, Lukaku's 6'3", Pogba's 6'3", all these giants, and no balls going into the box, and we're not winning headers to score goals. It's disappointing. I just want to add in here as well. I mean, I don't know how verified this is, but I did read something on Twitter today about Antoine Griezmann being disappointed that Manchester United have signed Alexis Sanchez and the number 7 shirt, and he'll have to look elsewhere now. I think Manchester United, I think that's a load of nonsense. I think Manchester United looked elsewhere because Griezmann messed around. Griezmann was always having that number 7 shirt. I think United had to look elsewhere. Let's take another call. Please do hit the like button and support your fellow United standers tonight that are calling in and having their say. Really appreciate them. Jamie, can you hear me?
Hello, Mark. You alright?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thanks. How are you?
I just want to talk about United's defence, really. I just think, you know, we talk about having the best defence in the league, but I honestly think it is really poor considering the club we are. You know, I think our centre-backs are really good. I think Phil Jones, especially because he's injured now, he needs to leave the club. He's just not reliable. Smalling, he gets a lot of criticism, Smalling, but he was fantastic in November, as he said. But I think we need so many more improvements, to be honest, especially the left back position. You know, I wouldn't mind Ashley Young being, you know, a backup, but he's on $100,000 a week or something. So I just think we need a full clear of our defence and go again in the summer. But I honestly can't see Jose wanting to buy any more defenders, to be honest. Although there are a lot of good defenders out there that you can buy.
Yeah, I think the midfield needs to be the priority because the ball from back to front is too slow, and I think if we had a decent midfield, the defence wouldn't be such an issue. But I think also the points you've raised there, certainly about Phil Jones, just to pick up on that. I mean, I remember saying this at the start of the season that I would get rid of Phil Jones, and a lot of people, this was when he was playing well with Bailly, and I said I'd still get rid of him because it doesn't matter how good he is, he could be the best centre-back in the world, but he will... Your centre-back pairings, when you think of Vidic and Ferdinand and you think of Bruce and Pallister, the reason they're great centre-back pairings is because they play 30 to 40 games a season together. And Phil Jones can't do that. He very rarely plays... I think he broke his record this season of about 7 games in a row before he got injured, which is pitiful. So I would move Jones on. Nothing really to do with his ability, just simply because you can't trust him for his injury record.
Yeah, I agree, and I honestly thought that when you made the point about Vidic and Rio Ferdinand, I thought that was going to be Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof this season. But because of Bailly's injury, and I think Lindelof has been treated really, really badly. He had a bad game against Huddersfield. I remember when he cost us 3 points. But he's a kind of player that builds, his confidence off consistency, like playing week in, week out. And I just don't know why Jose's done that with him, to be honest. But also one thing I wanted to mention with not just the midfield but the attack, I think we don't need number 10 in this format. I really hope next season Jose gives Andres Pereira a chance because I think he's amazing. I've watched a few La Liga games this season and he just looks phenomenal, And also, if we do sign a number 10, the formation that we probably will be playing is a 4-2-3-1. If we play the 3-5-2, we've already got Alexis, Martial and Lukaku. But that means if we play a 4-3-3 and people want to see, that still leaves Pogba in the same situation, playing in the midfield too with Matic. And if we do move to a 4-3-3, if we do sign Dybala, he can play on either wing, I'm pretty sure. Then that would jeopardise Martial's position, which I don't want. So I personally think we don't need number 10. We need a solid, maybe 2 or 3 solid midfielders, as you say, Fabinho and Milinkovic-Savic. I personally think Andres Pereira should get an opportunity, and yeah, I really hope Jose does change because we've got a lot of we've got a lot of potential in our youth system. We've got to use it. We can't make the same mistake we did with Pogba, especially.
No, I mean, and just very quickly on Chris Smalling, I think he played. It's funny because Chris Smalling was getting pelters last week, and I was trying to defend him, and then at the weekend I thought he played really well. He was a contender for man of the match. Tyrone Williams says, I would give Andres Pereira a chance in central midfield. I reckon he'd become a brilliant player there. I've got to put my hands up and say I haven't kept my eye on Valencia for about 3 weeks, and I've not heard anything about Pereira, so I don't know whether he's injured or he's just not playing games. I'm sure I read somebody saying that he's not even getting picked at the moment, but I couldn't tell you whether he's got an injury or not. He was getting involved quite a lot, although sometimes he would be on the bench. But he's a player I like, as with Twansevi and Fosu Mensah. I think they must be given a chance this season. Just as a midfield 3 against, presuming we go for a midfield 3 against Sevilla and Chelsea, who would be your midfield 3, Jamie?
Oh God, I don't even know, to be honest. I mean, Max and Pogba will probably play. And I'd probably have to go, as bad as it sounds, probably Scott McTominay because Ander Herrera's out of form. Carrick, I don't think Carrick will play versus Sevilla, to be honest, and that'll just be even worse with the lack of pace. Fellaini's injured, so I'll probably have to go Scott McTominay, although I don't want to see that because he's young and he's just been chucked in there to, kind of help the situation. But yeah, I think it'll be Scott McTominay in the midfield.
And just to confirm, Nigel Jones, Eric Stainswood and Habib, thanks for your comments. And Active Dan, Pereira's injured at the moment, so that's obviously why we've not heard anything about him. So thanks for that update. But thanks for the call, Jamie. Really appreciate it, and please do call again.
Thank you, Mark. Cheers. Cheers,
pal. Interesting on the midfield 3 for Sevilla. I mean, I'll touch on it tomorrow, a bit about Sevilla, and we've got Flex going over there with Jordan. He's going to do like a vlog from Sevilla as well, so lots and lots of coverage kicking in on that from tomorrow. But it is that thing, isn't it? If we go with the midfield 3 that everybody wants, we're struggling to complete the 3. I mean, I can see why Mourinho has been playing a midfield 2 because Matic and Pogba pick themselves. They're our best 2 midfielders, whether Matic is in form or not. But to play the 3, you're picking someone that you're not really sure about on that third side. So, I mean, although it's the way we want to play, we actually haven't got the players to do it at the moment. And, you know, I would pick McTominay over Fellaini, even if Fellaini was fit, if I'm totally honest with you. Let's try another call. They're whizzing through tonight. Shane, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing, Mark? Right?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, I just want to talk about two things. The United fans.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Jose. Like, since Fergie's left, one thing I noticed a lot of Man U fans do, which we never used to, like, we'll buy into narratives, like the media. So, like, I don't understand, because the media hates Man U. So why would you listen to the media? Like, anything they say, even if they're telling the truth. Like, I remember after we signed Sanchez, the next day apparently Pogba went into Jose and knocked in his office for a new contract. Like, bruv, that is bullshit. Like, anyone with common sense knows that's bullshit. But I'll still see some Man United, because I support all the United channels, so I watch everything United, and I see them banter certain narratives. It just gets on my nerves. Like, why do we banter narratives?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm guilty of it. I think everybody's guilty of it. You know in your head that it's probably nonsense, but I suppose dependent on your mood, that sometimes you do get drawn in.
But Mark, you have to remember, we still have Sir Bobby, Sir Alex on our board. We have football people on our board. At Man United, money's not a thing. All you have to do is perform on the pitch. Pogba could never go to Jose and ask for a new contract. Perform on the pitch, Pogba can get $500,000 easily. Money's not a problem. You have to perform. That is Man U. We give contracts when you show you're performing on the pitch. Like, big contracts, I mean. I'm not talking like Ashley Young's contract, which is way overpaid, but I'm talking our big players. We give them big contracts. When Ronaldo started getting big contracts, when he started scoring 19, 18, 20, 25 goals, 40 goals. That's when he started getting new contracts every 2 years.
It's interesting what you say there, because I think I said it the other day as well, that the one thing I would say about the press is how they big these players up like they can just go and knock on Mourinho's door and demand something. I mean, this is real life. This is... I know...
Jose is an alpha male, so why would we believe... Jose is an alpha. One thing you know about Jose, he's not perfect. My biggest problem with Jose is what he did at Barcelona when he poked that guy in the eye. That's my biggest problem with him. Sometimes people talk like Jose is a terrorist or he's commit some crime that I don't know. It's not that deep. Jose, he's been around since I was 13. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm 27 now. He's been around since I was 13. He's a legendary manager. He's a winner. We have a rubbish midfield at the moment. He will get it right. Like, we need to stop panicking. It's not like Man City's season this season is kind of fake. It won't happen again. Like, this, you can't sustain this kind of form. And we would have been close, like 6 points closer if it weren't for Pogba being missing 10 weeks, because he started the season phenomenal.
Good point. I mean, it's good to have somebody on who is passionately behind Mourinho. With the
Mark, we don't need a manager like Ryan Giggs or Gary Neville. We need a winner. It's 5 years now. Like, we need to win again. Like, I don't know why. Like, we have like young players like McTominay and there's some young players that get picked over like Gomez and that the winger with like the big hair, the curly hair.
Tahith Chong, yeah.
Yeah, like, why we start? Like, I want to see the Man U. It's not about having the most youngsters. Like Chelsea, to win the Youth FA Cup, it's not. It's about having the best youngsters. Even if it's 2 or 3 out of a whole 15-man squad, we will take the 2 or 3 that's elite. We don't. I don't want to see debuts for this any Man U youngster because they're from our academy. No offense. I love our academy. It's historic, but I want you to come in the first team. I want the best young players to come in the first team, and he's not one of the best young players. It's getting on my nerves.
Big week ahead, Sevilla. Well, no. First, the one question I want to ask you before you go is Marouane Fellaini. We heard today that potentially he's going to sign a new 5-year contract. There was a bit of debate whether it was going to be Manchester United or Turkey. How would you feel if he signed another 5-year contract at Manchester United?
It wouldn't even surprise me, Mark, because since first Sir Alex left, a lot of things changed with Man U fans. And one thing we've accepted since Sir Alex, all you have to do to be in our first team is have a great weekend. If you have like 2 great weekends, like a Ashley Young, a Fellaini, there's anyone that comes in and have like a good 4 or 5 matches, we start making videos, or Messi, Lingard. It's a bit of banter, but you're not. I hate hearing that everyone says Jesse Lingard is a squad player, but yet he starts every week. Same with Fellaini last year. He started like 40-something matches, but everyone tells me he's a squad player. Like, he's not a squad player if we're starting him every week. Like, I hate them. I hate there's just players in Man U that we need to get rid of. Fellaini is one of them, but the fans, we've allowed this thing that we will call them shit for 8 months and we have 4 good games and then we'll all jump back on the Fellaini ship. So it's our fault. I blame us. It's us as fans, isn't it? I blame us.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. The Fellaini is you've hit the nail on the head with Fellaini because
Ash Young when he scored them Watford goals and this guy's in a left back position over Luke Shaw. It's getting annoying now. Like at first I thought Jose don't want to rush him back, bro. Just put him in. Like Luke Shaw needs to man up. Like I think Luke Shaw has like a soft mentality. Like that everything that he feels, he thinks is an injury. No, like know how to fight through pain, man. He's too soft. We need to start being ruthless. Like Sir Alex, he got rid of David Beckham in his prime. A lot of people don't remember how good David Beckham, but he was legendary when I was young. Like phenomenal. Because it was deeper than his crosses. He used to dictate play. Paul Scholes used to play behind the strikers. He didn't used to come deep. It was Beckham that was getting the ball deep and spreading play and that. Like we got rid of him in his prime. We have to start getting back to being ruthless. And Fellaini, it's not called headball. It's called football. Like football. You can't just be better. And I've got to get on you, Mark. You do that with Chris Smalling. Like, why? I don't want Chris Smalling, Mark, if he's just nervous with the football at his feet. It gets, like, it makes me panic just from having the ball at his feet.
Look, Smalling's good in the air until Eric Bailly comes back. You've got to have somebody at the back who's good in the air. And you know, I know a lot of people don't like Smalling. I don't particularly mind him, but as soon as Bailly's back, he'll be out. And I agree with that. Thanks for calling in, Shane. Really good points.
Top man.
Cheers, pal. Really good. Really appreciate it. Good call. I mean, it's funny though, isn't he? I think Shane's a bit like me. Clearly, Mourinho in, but then towards the end of the call, you're saying, why does he pick Fellaini? Why is he picking Lingard? Why is he picking Young over Shaw? So I think I don't think you're Mourinho out just because you disagree with some of his opinions and his selections. But obviously, everything's not perfect at the moment, is it? A few people on about Shane mentioning Man U. Obviously, if you know the origins of Man U, you know that that is not a term that Manchester United fans want or like. But you've got to know that story, and I'm sure Shane, as a Manchester United fan, probably doesn't know the origins of Man U. So cut him a little bit of slack. There are people who do it, and obviously, I know if you're, you know, I know a lot of people don't like that term, and I understand why you don't. But some people don't know it, so you know, I think obviously from his knowledge, he knows a lot about Manchester United, and that's what we're interested in. So please do drop your likes on video and get to supporting your fellow United standers. Let's get Jared's calling. Let's give Jared again.
What's up, Mark?
How you doing, pal?
Excellent.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. I want to discuss Chelsea, actually.
Good.
I am more nervous about that game than I am about the Champions League at this point. Because I think people are taking for granted that we're going to be in the top 4 at this point. And not in a negative way, just in a sense that we have very important games sandwiched between each other, and we have a tough schedule coming up, and I think it's, to your point, it is definitely his most important week in this job.
Yeah, I saw today, I think we've got Liverpool coming up soon as well, 10th of March, so I'm just going to have a quick look at it actually. So 56 points for us, 54 for Liverpool, 53 for Chelsea, 52 for Spurs, so 4 points separate second to fifth. Lose to Chelsea at the weekend, and I think we're suddenly in trouble. So yeah, I suppose you're right. I mean, for everybody, there won't be an 8 o'clock show tomorrow night because I'm doing a watch along Barcelona versus Chelsea because I want to watch that game anyway. Also, we're playing Chelsea on Sunday, so it's a bit of scouting. So if you want to join me for that on the watch along, it's on That's Football tomorrow. I'll put the link on there when I do the preview tomorrow lunchtime. But yeah, I mean, Sevilla is my priority, but Chelsea, obviously, let me just double check this as well. So we've got Chelsea in the league, then we have got Palace away, then we've got Liverpool at home. So 3 big games for Manchester United, really, in the league, and come out of those 3 with not many points, and I guarantee we will be down in 5th.
Listen, I like I said, I think we can get over a rough Champions League competition this year. We cannot get over going to targets that we're after this summer to tell them, no, please come in the Europa League. We did win it a year ago, and you could be a part of that Europa League winning squad again. We will lose every single world-class target we're after, and in the end, most of the fan base, for good reason, is already looking to next year in certain ways and saying we need to make sure we're prepared, ready, and able to take on Liverpool, City, and Spurs, whoever their squad is. because right now I think we would all agree that our squad is not there. Then it gets...
Just to cut in there, it's interesting you say there about the Europa League, because I hadn't considered it, and we're talking about the midfield, and like the video I did at lunchtime, and we're talking about the midfield, and there is this assumption that we're getting Champions League football, and I think it's a bit like the Fellaini news this afternoon when I read that tweet, and I thought it was that he'd signed the 5-year contract with Manchester United, which he still could, but I'm hoping it means it's Galatasaray. And my heart just sank, and in my head there was this voice saying, I can't take it anymore. If Fellaini signs another 5-year contract, I can't do this anymore. And then reality bites and said, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go and support Man City? Of course you're not. You're a Manchester United fan. Of course you're going to have to put up with it. But it's an unbearable thought. Europa League hits me the same way. If we're in the Europa League next year, I have that voice in my head again. I can't do it. I can't do Europa League again. I hate it. I can't. But of course we will, because you have to go through the bad times, but I dread the thought of being back in the Europa League.
Mark, that comment along the lines of most of the bigger conversations we're having this year is that same statement I think a lot of fans have in their head, which is, I can't do this anymore. Like, Paul Pogba is the best player on this team. It's not close. Anthony Martial will be the best player on this team in 5 years if he's still here, but Pogba is leaps and bounds above anyone else. So when people slate him for being annoyed in the way things are going, I would be annoyed if I was Pogba. I gave up 2 Champions Leagues to come here, and then to have the fan base turning on me for having a rough moment when we wouldn't be anywhere we are without Pogba in many situations, I think is difficult. And I think Pogba is a world-class superstar. He may not play like it all the time, but he is still 24 years old. He's not 29. He still has to get better. And it's like, I think our fan base wants the title tomorrow, but if they don't understand that it's going to take time to get there and build the squad, I think there's things that are essential and things that we want. I want to be in the Champions League final. It's essential we have Champions League football next year. You know, I want Jose Mourinho to be manager. It is essential our team is in good position in next year. And if those statements kind of go hand in hand, because if Mourinho's not the right guy to do it, and he's not going to put us in better position next year, then that conversation should come up. But I only think a lot of these points are next year conversations, which is an unfortunate thing because we're pretty much an instant gratification fan base.
Yeah. Avik says, when you hate Fellaini so much, why do you keep his miniature version in front of you? To remind me he's a human being. I don't hate him. I just don't like that style of play. I don't know the bloke. He's probably a nice bloke. But as a footballer in a Manchester United shirt, you know what? My best mate supports Manchester United. If he played in a Manchester United team, I'd give him more pelters than anybody because he's crap at football. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not about personalities, it's not about hate, it's about what's best for the team that I support, and I don't feel that he is. But what you were saying there, Jared, as well, I suppose there are a few things like that you said as well, that there's a few things going on at the moment that could make you go, I've had enough, I can't deal with it anymore. Like if Martial was sold in the summer, that would be the same as Fellaini staying or as being in the Europa League for me. That would be I can't deal with this anymore. I can't, you know, if Martial left, I'd be distraught as if Fellaini signed a new contract. So, and there's probably a few other examples of that. You know, if McTominay, Matic, and Fellaini was the future midfield 3 for United, that would just make me cry. You know, so things could go. I think the purpose of your call really is that things could go really good, but it's not that far off that it could go really bad, and that's something to be scared of. But I must say, I guarantee we'll beat Chelsea. I've been saying it for weeks. We'll beat Chelsea on Sunday, because I think the fans will win us that game, and I think the players will be up for it.
Well, I hope so, because I am going to the Palace game in the away stand finally. It's like one of the big things I've tried to do, and I would like us to massacre Palace right before that Liverpool game, and it's going to be... I think if we come out of, at the end of Liverpool, if we come out of this whole stretch and we're ahead of the game, I think we'll be okay. Yeah,
I agree. And, of course, Palace won't have their best player playing anyway, because Fosu Mensah can't play against us.
I'll take it.
Jared, thanks for calling in, and I know you're calling again, so I'll speak to you again soon, pal.
Pleasure as always, Mark. See you.
Cheers, pal. Really good calls again tonight. This is what we expect on the Skype show. So please do drop a like on the video for all our people who are calling in. I'm going to just go to the live comments for a minute or so. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, the United Stand. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. Watch alongs an hour before kick-off, right the way through till full time. We also take your calls after full time now. So get involved with that as well. Sevilla preview tomorrow lunchtime at 1 o'clock. We'll also have vlogs going up from Sevilla where Flex is going to be. We're going to have fan cams. It's our first Champions League fan cam game, so that's a big thing for the channel. And just a reminder, is the Chelsea game tomorrow. We'll be doing a watch along for that. Not on the United Stand. That would be weird. On That's Football, I'm going to do a Chelsea versus Barcelona watch along. So great football, but also a bit of a scouting mission for Chelsea as well. And we'll be doing a combined 11 later on in the week as well, which I'm going to do live because I want your. That's what it's all about on the United Stand. It's all about your opinions. Skype Goldbridge is the word. Skype Goldbridge is what you need to search for if you want to call in. As
Hello?
Kenny has. Hello, Kenny.
Hello. Yeah. Hello?
Hello. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Good, good. What do you want to talk about, pal?
I'd like to talk about, there's three things I'd like to talk about that's been on my mind since I watched the show on Sunday last week.
Okay.
The first thing is about social media, and I honestly do think that, in my opinion, because I started watching the United Stand recently, and I really do feel that social media has completely taken over football in a negative way, because I am still a youngster, I'm still following football, I have aspirations to be a coach for the mold and everything, but I feel that all the players are so focused on social media these days, so seriously, that they want to, when people put memes up of different things, players had bad performances and it's all over. I think the players focus too much on that, and it really does affect them a lot. And we see the same thing with when players say things about Lingard, and it gets to his head and he thinks he's a world beater and all of that. I think social media is a big problem, especially now. I really do think so, and I agree with you a lot, because a lot of people are complaining that a lot of fans are moaning about social media and all of this, but I think it is a big problem, because I've noticed that a lot of that brings a lot of players down, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think on social media, it's I'm not a big fan of it, probably because I'm a little bit older than most people, and I haven't been used to this. And I look at my heroes, like, to be fair, I think if social media was around when David Beckham was around, he'd be all over it, but he wouldn't be all over it because Sir Alex Ferguson would not let him be on it. Roy Keane would throw a phone in the river rather than tweet something on there. So, but football's changed. I think you're right, though. I think you hit the nail on the head in relation to Jesse Lingard there. I think, maybe Lingard does believe all the hype, and he's far from what he needs to be, but he acts like he's Mr. Manchester United. What was the second point you wanted to talk about? I've forgotten your name. How rude is that? Let me have a double check. Kenny. I'd called it you about 3 times before. What was the next thing you want to talk about, Kenny?
So the other thing we'll talk about was I was watching the video about the midfielders, and we talk about McTominay and the midfield in general. And what I've noticed is that, my honest opinion on the McTominay, I think that he's just like Sophie said on Sunday, he's decent. He's just okay. I don't think he's like the best youth product that we have. But I think what I've noticed, especially with Herrera, you were talking about this a while ago, I don't know if Jose actually tells them in training that they shouldn't pass forward. If you watch the Huddersfield match closely, you notice that if McTominay has the ball, he's reluctant to pass forward. I don't know, it's like he's held back. It's like maybe Jose's like, don't take that risk. I think it's only Sanchez in the team that does that. Same thing with Herrera, because Herrera last season, especially in that Chelsea match, he was spraying balls all over the place. Look at the pass he gave to Rashford. But this season, it seems that he's not giving that license, like Mourinho is telling him that he should rather find the easier pass. sideways and that. I've noticed there were quite a few players this season. I don't know if you've seen it, but I have really, because I have been watching the midfield closely.
It's interesting because under Van Gaal, I know for a fact, because I read a big article on him when we got Van Gaal, and he had a system whereby only a couple of players in the team were allowed to be the creative flair players, and everybody else had a specific role, and that involved a lot of possession side to side. So whether that's something Mourinho's brought in or not, I don't know, but there is definitely a distinct difference between Herrera last season and this. And point three, what's your point three, Kenny?
Okay, and the last one I want to talk about is Martial. I think if you noticed as well, I don't think Martial gets media attention unlike the other players, and the newspapers don't write about him a lot as they do Pogba, because I find it funny how everyone is on about Pogba's favourite position, and everyone is talking about how Pogba needs to play the midfield three and how Pogba needs to thrive here. But no one cares about Martial and the fact that he's playing out of position. Not one newspaper has mentioned that. The pundits don't care because it seems like they don't rate him for reasons I don't know, and they would rather that he, plays out of position. And if he's sold, I don't think they care because he doesn't gain that media attention. I don't think anyone cares because no one's talking about it, but everyone's on about Pogba falling out with Mourinho, how the relationship's not good. But no one's talking about Martial. He's not playing in his position. No one's talking about how Sanchez is coming instead of the natural thing to improve our right wing we've always needed. They're checking him out there and just making it worse. I don't think anyone cares. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
No, good points, Kenny. Thanks for calling in. Please do call in again. And like I say, 3 really good topics there. I really enjoyed the call. Thanks for calling.
No problem. Thank you, Will.
Cheers, pal. Just on that last one, I mean, he's spot on. Spot on all 3 points, from my opinion. Obviously, you lot might disagree, but on the Martial thing, he's spot on. Absolutely spot on again. Gary Neville has a weird thing. Doesn't like Martial. Constantly goes on positively about Rashford. Maybe it's an English thing. The press, when Martial's dropped, it's all about what the other player is dropped. It's never about Martial. He doesn't get mentioned. And in fact, I read something the other day about Martial's had a bit of a hit and miss season, whereas Lingard's had the season of his life. Look, Lingard wasn't really in the team before late November, and he was crap August, September, October. And he's not been that great for the last month either. So to say Lingard's had a great season is inaccurate. Martial's had a great season. He's had a couple of bad games recently, but over the season, whether it was bursting off the bench at the start or getting his first team place, scoring lots of goals, winning his games, Martial's been probably our most consistent player. But he doesn't get picked up on, apart from by United fans. You know why? Do you want me to give you a little insight here into the media? They don't watch the games. They don't watch the games. They go with social media or an article. They don't watch Manchester United play. They can't watch Manchester United play because if they watch Manchester United play, they would know how important Anthony Martial is to Manchester United. But he never gets any credit. And they go off on like the Messi Lingard stuff, and it's inaccurate. B.I. Sphere wants Keno as manager and Vinnie Jones as his assistant. For some reason my live comments is broken. Hopefully it hasn't working for you lots. Let's take another call. Neil, can you hear me? Hello?
Hi Mark. You alright?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Good. What do you want to talk about?
How long have you got?
Well, go on, let's see how we go. What's the thing bothering you the most?
Just the manager, mate. Yeah, I'm definitely one of the people who's in the Mourinho out camp.
How long have you been like that, Neil? Is it been from the start, or is it something recent, just out of interest?
No, it's not been from the start. It's been mostly this season. Sort of gave him the first season, give him his dues, but I think things are just totally unraveling now. The special one's gone. I think he's the man he was, who got sacked by Chelsea, really. I'm just, in the position where I can't see us winning the league under Jose.
Definitely not this season.
Definitely not. And even next season, I think we're just at a stage now where we need to do something different if we want to compete and win the league. And not just the league, we're Man United. We want to be challenging for Champions League, not being 15 points behind and playing a crap brand of football. And, when we're talking about all these negatives all the time, that's not us. So I think it's just, in my mind anyway. I mean, I'm happy to see Josie out this, to the end of the season, see what we could do in the transfer market. But even still, I don't see how we can go from here. I mean, I've been saying for a while, one of the things you picked up on the other day, it was, what is our identity? I don't think we have one at the minute. Players they don't know what brand of football they're trying to play, and has he lost the dressing room? I think there's just a bit of a mess, really.
Look, this is what the show's all about. I mean, I'm not going to start disagreeing with people. I've made my opinion quite clear that I think he can turn it around, but Sevilla on Wednesday, Chelsea, a couple of weeks after that, Liverpool at home. If it goes wrong in those games, I think we're in big trouble. If you're Mourinho out, do you think he is gonna? What do you think is salvageable this season? Do you think it's going to be a long goodbye, or do you think things are going to get worse? Do you see us playing different football, different tactics, I think there are people out there who think it's just going to go drastically wrong and he'll be gone by the summer, or there's people who think it's going to, it won't go drastically wrong, but it's not really going to get much better, and eventually he'll go.
Yeah, that's my point of view to that. I think it's going to be a long goodbye. I'm not really one of these people who's pushing it, saying he has to go. I'm just more thinking about the medium to long term here. Whereas, are we going to win the league with Jose? I can't really see it. So, where my mind's at, that we need to sort of really do something differently so that we can go on and win the league. I think we'll keep going. I think we'll gradually slip down the table. I think we'll pick up. We'll keep beating the teams lower down the league. We might even, beat Chelsea this weekend. But I think the brand of football is just not going to be there. And, we're seeing all these things happen with Martial, who's our best player. He's been frozen out. What's happening with Luke Shaw? We can't understand his thoughts around Fellaini. McTominay, as I said the other day, I think he's a player that would look at home in the SPL. He's not, this is not Manchester United quality. We need to be going on winning the league and demanding excellence, whereas at the minute this is, it's 2 steps away from Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, the one thing you do get back from people who call them people like yourselves moaners and negative is that we're second in the league, we're still in the Champions League, we're still in the FA Cup. What I try and say in defence of those people, because I feel it as well, is we are all those things, but it's very tight for second place. You can go from second to fifth very, very quickly, and you can go out the cup very quickly. And what's good on paper can be torn up and thrown in the bin very fast. The reality is a lot of United fans are just unhappy with the style of football. Do you think Mourinho's aware of that, bothered by that, could change that?
I think he's aware of it. And again, one of my concerns is that he's not bothered about it. He's stubborn. He's unwilling to change. And I think, at times he does think he's bigger than the club. And, from my point of view, there's nobody bigger than the club. Just what like Fleck was saying last night. There's nobody bigger than the club, especially not the manager or the players, to that degree. But I can't see him changing his ways. And sooner or later, I think it's gonna crack. Especially with the squad we've got. I think, we've got massive problems in midfield, obviously. And we've went out and signed Alexis Sanchez to replace Martial, where we're crying out for two midfielders who can just take the game by the scruff of the neck and dominate the game. And, perhaps free Pogba up and, get through a mountain of work, then allow the forwards and Pogba to express themselves. I'm not feeling a lot of love at the minute, and especially when you've got things like Beck and Fellaini to sign a new contract, where we just need to be moving players like him on. You know, even Matic, I think he had a good start. Again, I was one of the doubters, but he just looks that his legs are gone. He doesn't look with it. Herrera was one of my, favourite players last season. I thought he was brilliant in the CDM role, and we've totally just outcasted him this season. I still think he could do a job in there alongside, if we signed a top quality player to go in that midfield, like a Toni Kroos, say a Herrera, Pogba, Kroos, and that's a lot better than McTominay, Carrick, and Fellaini or whoever.
Good points, Neil. Can't argue with them. They're your opinions, and they're really good. Thanks for calling, and please do call again.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Thank you. It's an interesting one. It came into my head maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. I know I started talking about it, but never really finished it, so I'm going to go with it now. The Ander Herrera situation is really weird. I've said this a few times this season that I don't understand why so many United fans have turned against Herrera and they've been get rid of him. He's rubbish. There's this, that, and the other. Last season, this time last year, he was our Player of the Year. He was absolutely amazing, and he's been a cult hero at Manchester United for many years. The years he's been here, not many years. He's not been there that long, but this year it's just gone really bad, and I think Neil touches on it really well there. When we signed Matic in the summer, everyone thought we would go to 4-3-3, which funnily enough we're all begging for now, and Mourinho started doing it, but we were like, Pogba to the left, Herrera to the right, Matic holding the midfield. That's the midfield three we know we need to go with. We never did it. We never did it, and Herrera pretty much got dropped from day one in August, and I think Mourinho's messed Herrera. I don't know why I went a bit Welsh. I think Mourinho has messed up Herrera. Not my best Welsh accent, but I do. Again, it doesn't really get a lot of press because not amongst Manchester United fans. I don't give a damn about the national press. But nobody really thinks about it or talks about it because a lot of people have turned against Herrera. But he was brilliant last year. He does get what United's all about. He is quick across the ground. He can put a tackle in and he can pass. But he's been sidelined this year, pretty much since we signed Matic, because we were actually playing Matic, Fellaini and Pogba. And Herrera just was left out. And he's had a dreadful season. But I think he's probably had a dreadful season because one of two things. One, he wanted to go to Barcelona where his old manager was. Or two, he's just lost all faith in Mourinho because Mourinho's treated him badly. But Herrera, that's been a massive loss for us this season. It really is. Mark, if McTominay starts to play better, says Karan, I would take McTominay over Fellaini in the United team. As much as I'm not sure about McTominay yet, I would still take him over Fellaini. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you, Mark?
I'm good. Is that Webster?
Yes, it is, my good man.
Good, good. I've seen you've been calling in for a while. What do you want to talk about, pal?
Mixed emotions right now. But I would like to talk about the midfield.
Okay.
You see, I beg to differ with people complaining about Matic. You remove Matic in that midfield of ours, we're dead. We're totally dead. The problem I'm having with Matic, he's playing alone and expected at his age to cover that whole field. It's impossible. At Chelsea, he had a Kante. Is it Kante?
It is, yeah, yeah.
You see, they complemented each other. Kante's a terrier. You would work as hard as maybe even more than Matic, but there was that complement. And hence their midfield looked solid there. Now, we're trying to play Pogba like Kante. Pogba will never play like Kante, never ever. In a million years. You can cut his legs off, make him short, you still won't play like Kante. We're just getting it wrong somewhere, and it's really, really bothering me. I still feel our best three currently with the players we have should be Pogba, Matic, and Herrera.
I agree, yeah.
Because Herrera can put in the work which will help Matic. Fortunately, our system, Pogba actually is the one who exposes Matic a lot. Because when Pogba goes up all the time, which is his game naturally, Matic remains with a lot to do back there in midfield. And hence sometimes my wonder why we let people like Fosu, Mensah, some good defensive backup goal. Fosu Mensah, I believe, can be trained into a CDM. He's a solid player.
I agree. Yeah.
Could do a holding midfield draw, I just think we're getting it wrong. It's not so much our players, but we never get the balance correct. And that's my issue. If we look at our front, there's nothing wrong with our wingers interchanging. Instead of complaining all the time that Marshall is on the right, Sanchez is on the right, you can give them that free role where they can keep on swapping. That already will help both their games, because Sanchez can still go on the right, Marshall can still go on the left, and our game won't be as stifle as it is now. Sanchez stay on the left, Marshall stay on the right, and that's it now. I think if we give them that free role and Lukaku is in the middle there, that balance would still work.
Yeah, really good points. I agree. I think the midfield is crying out for somebody with a bit of tenacity and pace there to help Matic and Pogba. That's the way it is. We've got Champions League game on Wednesday against Sevilla. You've spoken about the midfield there. We can't magic Fosu Mensah back, and we can't sign that midfielder we need. So I think we're going to have to get between now and the end of the season by with what we've got. Can that midfield win Manchester United the Champions League as it is? What do you think Manchester United are going to do? Where do you think we're going to finish in the league, FA Cup, Champions League, based on what we've got available at the moment? And that midfield is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, true. I'm really now preying on Jose's history of digging out results, because I'm really worried when I see just the players we have. I'm praying we just dig out victories, 1-0. I don't even care anymore. I just feel we're lacking in midfield. And I feel when we play the big teams, we get exposed because of that. There's too much holes that just get created in the midfield. And I think that's where our problem is. I saw with Newcastle, we started to play a counter-attacking game. I think that would be a best option with what we have. We should play to our strength. I think right now, trying to go toe-to-toe against the Liverpool, what would be just to be suicide. I think we should hold them and hit them on a counter, because we seem to be having that type of players for that type of attack right now. I'm just worried, like I said, the team is not that we don't have players. I think we just never get the right balance. And that is the real problem we have. Even in the back, we say Jones gets injured a lot. I beg to differ. All our defenders get injured a lot. Rojo is never on form. I mean, he's always injured. Bay just came, for the life of me, I've never seen him play more than 6 games.
Good point.
I don't know what's happening with our... And in all fairness, Smalling, I think, is the most consistent. And hence why I always have this thing for Smalling, because it's not that he's the best defender, but he's our most consistent defender, actually. And
he deserves credit because he's actually always fit. He's always there ready for United, and that deserves some credit. He's not on the injury table.
That deserves a lot of credit. You're right, Mark. You're very right. And that's, I think, another problem we're having. Every time we start going, an injury kind of disturbs our flow. But that also means we don't have a big enough squad. Because immediately a Marshall, a Sanchez, a Pogba is out, our team then immediately struggles. It shouldn't be like that.
I think it's imbalanced. I think we've got a lot of defenders. We've got people like Darmian and Blind who we don't really need. But then in the attack, like you say, we lose Martial or Sanchez and we're in big trouble.
Don't get me started with... I even understand Blind. Damian, my goodness, don't get me started with Damian. I just don't know. I think I could play better with my big belly than Damian right now, I'm telling you. I just don't know.
Webster, I've really enjoyed your call. Please do call in again, and thanks for calling.
Thanks, my good man. Thanks for having me. First time call, but I always watch your show. Thanks a lot.
Where are you calling from? Just very quickly.
South Africa, Joburg.
Yeah, I thought you were South Africa, but thanks for calling, and please do call in again.
Thanks, my good man. Cheers.
Cheers. Really enjoyed that. Obviously, first time on the show as well. It's always nice to get some new voices on. But not just for Webster, for everybody. Please do hit the like button because the calls tonight have been really, really good. And this is what the show is. Kieran Byrne just said, thoroughly enjoyed the show tonight. Top quality. You never know what you're going to get on a Skype show, and that's why we do it. So really, really, really enjoyed those calls. John Addison says, Pep looks like he's trying to lose this FA Cup game. It's half-time at the moment, but they've gone down to 10 men. I don't think we'll be that lucky. If Man City got knocked out, though, I mean, that would be a real boost to the start of the week for us, because I think with City out the Cup, we can beat Spurs and we can beat Chelsea. I don't know whether we can beat City on their day at the moment. We're along with our midfield. I think we struggle, but you know, Spurs will still be a very tough game. But we did gift them 2 goals. Let's not forget. Let's take one. Let's have a look who we got here. Kieran, can you hear me?
Hi, Mark. You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. You?
Yeah, I just want to talk about Martial.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
I think if we lose Martial, we're in big trouble.
Do you think he will go?
No, I don't think he will. But I can. If Mourinho doesn't play him, Martial's going to get frustrated and more frustrated and more frustrated.
I mean, I think we often get called the Martial stand, which I take as a compliment because I do like him. He's my favourite player. But
yeah, same.
I don't know about you. If he was available, what sort of club do you think would want him? Because I've got my ideas, but you know, how good are clubs do you think would want Martial?
Well, you got to think Real Madrid will go sniffing in.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's that good. Yeah.
Yeah, PSG sniffing in. You know.
Well,
go on.
The Sanchez signing. Do you think it's a bit odd?
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Like, there's other areas where we need to improve, but I like Sanchez. He's a really good signing, but then I'm not liking the fact that Martial is not getting played. I think Sanchez is playing the number 10 role, and like a cam role kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Martial on like left. I think Martial should not get left out. It's just yeah, it's really annoying, but we've had other areas where we need to improve on. I think we need to make more signings where we need to improve, because we didn't really need to improve that area. We just signed him. I mean, like Sanchez is a good signing, but yeah.
I think what I would like to see is what Webster said there. Obviously, the midfield 3, I think we want to go 4-3-3. Midfield 3, we're going to have to buy players in the summer to sort that out, but we can get by, hopefully. And then the front 3, I'd like to see what Webster said there. You know, if Sanchez is on the left and Martial is on the right, they interchange. You know, it's not rigid.
We would. I think with them two, we can, you know, compete against the likes of Real Madrid, PSG, and all that, and maybe we can go further in the Champions League. You never know.
I just think we're too static. I think everything we do is too predictable. I think we move the ball too slow. I think everybody's quite rigid in position, and I think football's evolved into a very expansive, quick, dynamic game now. And I think we've got the players to do it. We just need to have the confidence. The manager needs to have the confidence to let them go and do it, because I don't think a lot of these players suit rigid football. I think a lot of them are free thinkers. Go on.
I also wanted to say, if we don't get top 4, Mark, would you be judging Mourinho if we don't get top 4?
Well, if we don't get top 4, because I don't think this midfield can get anywhere near winning the Champions League, and I think that's going to be the problem. If we don't get top 4, we're not in the Champions League for me, and that means we're back in the Europa League, and we're back where I was an hour ago.
I was hating back in the Europa League.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. So if Mourinho puts us back in the Europa League, effectively, he's failed this season.
He does. I think if he does that, then he's got to go. But I think for now, I'll keep him. Yeah,
I don't... He won't go if we're in the Europa League, and I'm not even sure that I would want him to go, but it would be a massive disappointment. Just on that, what are your predictions for this season then? Where do you think we're going to finish in the league, Champions League, FA Cup?
Right, I think we're going to win the FA Cup. I think we're definitely going to win the FA Cup.
Good, yeah.
I think we'll make it to the semi-finals of the Champions League.
I'd be happy with that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we will finish in the top 4. I reckon we'll finish second.
I'll tell you what, if we do that, it's the same as what Flex said last night, actually. I'll be very happy. I think second in the league, semi-final of the Champions League, win the FA Cup. You can't ask for anything more than that with this squad.
Who knows for next season?
Yeah, build on it next summer. Really good call, Kieran, as usual, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Mark. Have a
Cheers,
good night.
Pal. You too. Let me just come back to the live comments. Well, thanks everybody who's hit the likes. We've nearly hit for 500 likes, so well done. Thanks for that, because you are actually liking the callers that have called in, which is the United Stand community. I think we've got a great community. Very interesting, something just came into my head about social media. There's something we want to start trying probably later on this week. In fact, probably next week, because we want to get these big games out of the way first. But we'll keep your eye out for that. What else did I want to say? Also, I just want to quickly have a look at some of the super chats, because I do sometimes save them up for the end, towards the end of the show, just so I can get through them all. So thanks for everybody who's made a super chat option today, and thanks. We've had a few new subscribers while we've been live as well. So if you are new to the channel, you're very welcome. I will normally save this for the watch along, but fantastic community on the United Stand, as you can see with the live comments, with the Skype shows. This is what it's all about. You'll love it. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. 1 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock UK time, whether you're at school, it might be half term, uni, work. 1 o'clock tomorrow, we're live with Sevilla preview. And also, I don't know what time they're going to go up, but Flex is over in Sevilla from tomorrow morning. So we've got some, he's going to do a bit of a tour of Sevilla and all that stuff. So Abhinav Shori says Matic, McTominay and Pogba is the midfield three. I'd like it to be Herrera, but if he's not fit, I'd agree with that. Thanks for the contribution, Abhinav. Robert Fahy says Pogba, Matic, Herrera, then a grade upgrade over the summer. Thanks, Robert, and I'd agree with that. Biosphere, I will never turn on Pogba. I know he's our main man. He is our most important player. Thank you, Biosphere. Vince Chapman, agree with caller, but why don't we have two-footed players? And thanks for that, Vince. And Matthew McFadden, thanks, Matthew. He says Pogba gets more attention than Martial from the media because Pogba is a more clickbait name. Simple as that. All they want are clicks and views. Yeah, Martial keeps himself to himself, doesn't he? Martial's very, very similar, and people will remember. We should remember this because it was our recent successful history. Martial's very, very similar to sort of Paul Scholes, and I think Paul Scholes, if he existed today in this social media obsessed world, Paul Scholes would be called moody and lazy, because Martial has got the same temperament as Paul Scholes had on the pitch, and he's got the same temperament off the pitch. Doesn't like doing interviews, very quiet, very straight faced. Scholes would be called moody and lazy, because that's what Martial gets called, and he's not. It's a myth. There's so many myths that float around Manchester United, and this social media thing, going back to what Kenny said, is very spot on. We've surpassed 500 likes, so thanks everyone who's liked the video. We're closing in on 300 subscribers, so the road to 200k is still ongoing. Keep spreading the word, telling your friends and your family, get them subscribing. And thanks everybody. It's an hour's flown by. Really enjoy the Monday night Skype show. It is brilliant, and as Uktresh said, awesome show. Look, you make this show. You make the whole channel, but this show is your show, and you've made it tonight, all of you. And Kunal's been here since 8,000 subscribers. Wow. Thanks everybody. Really enjoyed the show tonight. 1 o'clock tomorrow. We've started doing the odd 1 o'clock show. That's based on what you wanted as well. So 8 o'clock show's not going anywhere apart from tomorrow night. Watch along for Barcelona Chelsea on That's Football. I'll put you the link to how you can get there tomorrow on the 1 o'clock show. So if you're looking for me tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm doing a watch along for Barcelona Chelsea, which is a bit of a scouting game anyway. But I'll put the link up for that for you, or you can just go and search That's Football on your YouTube bar and subscribe so you're ready and get your notifications on. But thanks everyone. If you didn't see the video I did at lunchtime because you were at work or whatever, there's an eye in the top right corner of this video, or you can just go through to the homepage. It's called 3 Midfielders Manchester United Must Sign This Summer. It's in the Red Rumours studio, which I can give you a little bit of a glimpse of now. There it is. And if you want to watch me in it, then just go and watch that video as well. I know a lot of you won't have seen it because it was at lunchtime, but really enjoyed it, and a really good interactive show. And midfield is the thing about Manchester United at the moment. It really is the most important thing. And even though I make a very obvious statement at the start of that video, it is very true. The midfield is the source of all problems. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Really, really enjoyed the show. Thanks for everybody who's saying it was good, but you know, credit's got to go to the callers. I'm thinking about doing a caller of the night show because I thought Webster was really good for a debut. I liked Kenny's points as well. I liked them all. I liked Kieran at the end. Obviously Jared, Jamie. I've forgot. I knew I wouldn't be able to remember them all. Really good calls anyway. Thanks everybody. Speak to you tomorrow. I'm back at 1 o'clock tomorrow for the Sevilla preview. See you soon. Nailed it, didn't they? Absolutely brilliant. Never ever surprised me how good they are.